guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Paige and this is my open book. In today's video, we're going to be talking about my reading plans for 2024. Yes, it's the new year. We have some books that we are trying to get to. I feel like a lot of these are like mostly series that I want to read or like new authors I want to check out, but I really wanted to do like a 24 books to read in 2024 video. And I figured that'll be easy enough because I could do like 2 of these a month to kind of like spread it out to make sure that I don't forget about things, because I feel like last year in my mid-year freakout tag, kind of leaning up towards the end of the year, I was like, oh, these are all the books that I have to read in 2023, and I read like none of them. So this year I wanted to be more intentional just to make sure that I don't like let these books fall to the wayside and I really like prioritize them in the new year. So grab a drink, grab a snack, and let's talk about the 24 books that I plan to prioritize in the 2024 reading year. Okay, first up, I really need to finish the Shatter Me series. I only read book 1 and I loved it, but I really wanted to be able to like binge it like in the winter, so it's actually going to be something that I read in January for sure. This is the YA dystopian society. I can't really tell if it's like sci-fi or fantasy yet, but I really loved the first book. Like, it definitely delivered what I wanted it to do, and I'm excited to read the rest, especially because like the romance subplot also has me very intrigued, so I'm excited to see how it ends up. So this is definitely a priority for sure, and I feel like I've been talking about this for like the past 6 months and I never read it, so I definitely will prioritize that in the year of 2024. Kind of along the same vein is the ACOTAR series. So same thing, I've read book 1, except in this one I wasn't obsessed. I was expecting more, but everyone keeps telling me the first book is kind of slow, but like the second book is really where it gets better. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I promise. I promise. This is like a fae fantasy, like romantasy series that everyone raves about. Although I did just find out apparently this series is not done, which I didn't know. So that's a little disappointing because I had planned to read the second book this month in January, but now I'm worried, like, should I go ahead and binge it, or am I going to be like mad with like a cliffhanger? Like, should I wait? See, this is what happens. This is what happens. So I don't know, but I'm definitely going to read the second book this month just to see, like, will I continue the series or is it just not for me? Next is the one I'm so excited about. I've been anticipating reading this series since last year, but the author had to push back the release date. It's A Touch of Chaos by Scarlett St. Clair. This is the last book in her Hades and Persephone saga, and kind of like along with that, I've only read these books over here, which is like A Touch of Darkness, A Touch of Ruin, and A Touch of Malice. Originally, when she released these series, she released them as like 2 separate series. This one was the Hades Persephone series, and then she released another one that's like the Hades saga from his point of view. Obviously the timelines are interconnected, right? But at the time, I didn't know that. I just read these books because I thought this was all that there was. And then I found out about the Hades saga. So, this is another one where I also thought the series was complete, and then the third book ended on a terrible cliffhanger. I'm excited to finally bring this series to a close because I've been on like pins and needles waiting to see how the series ends. So, I'll be reading the Hades saga as well as the last book in the Hades and Persephone series. Next one is The Boys of Tommen by Chloe Walsh. This is a rugby romance. I think it takes place in college, or maybe even high school, honestly. I'm not 100% sure. But I know this one's like super emotional. The books are very long, so it has been a little bit intimidating for me. I really wanted to read these last year, but I just didn't get around to it. But this year I will definitely prioritize reading them because I have to know. I just have to know. Like, I've been dying to read them because I feel like they're gonna be right up my alley. Next one is a Colleen Hoover book that is also the first in a series. This is Hopeless by Colleen Hoover. I've heard really good things about this book, and like I said, I know she has other books that are kind of like tied with it, and I've had Hopeless, like the physical copy, for months and I just haven't picked it up yet. So I really want to prioritize reading that because I do have pretty good luck with Colleen Hoover, and I do think that her writing is very unique, and I like how different her love stories are compared to like the standard contemporary romance book. So I really want to read more. Next is an author that I think I've only read like 1 book by her. This is Kennedy Ryan. So I've definitely read whatever the first book in the series is from her basketball hoops series. I read that and I loved it. It was really good. It was a very heavy-hitting basketball romance, has some like darker tones to it, but she did such a good job with it. I really want to read Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. I want to read the Kingmaker series. I want to finish the Hoops series. Like, there's a lot of Kennedy Ryan books I want to read. I also want to read the Grip series. I just know that she does really good at delivering on the emotional side of romance, so I really want to read more by her. So that's definitely a priority. I also really want to read books by Abby Jimenez. This is another thing that I really wanted to read in 2023 and I just never got around to it. There are actually 2 books by her that I have the physical copies of, Yours Truly and Part of Your World. Really want to read those because those 2 books have been people's like favorite books of the year for like 2 years in a row. So I gotta see what the hype is about. I just have to. The next is another YA series. This is The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So this is kind of like Criminal Minds but for teenagers. And that's like right up my alley. This one is about like teenagers who have like special gifts, so the FBI like recruits them to help catch serial killers, and it just sounds really interesting to me, and I think it'll be a good way to like mix up when I'm reading so that I'm not just reading romance all the time. If you watch my end of year like wrap up tag for 2023, I did talk about how one of my goals for 2024 is to try and go outside of my comfort zone a little bit more and not just read romance all the time. So I thought this would be a good way to mix it up. I also really want to read Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. This is a second chance romance that everyone raved about last year. I just never got around to. I was kind of saving it for the spring season just because like this gives me the spring vibes. So it's kind of why I was holding out, but I don't want to wait anymore. Like, I want to make sure I read this year for sure, because you guys know second chance romance is like my ultimate favorite trope. So like, I have to love it. I have to love it. Plus she's a wedding planner and he's a florist. Like, I just love that duo. Okay, 2 other like heavy hitting series that I really want to try and get to is the Addicted series by Kristen Becker Ritchie. So just like the title says, this is about 2 addicts who get into a love story together. This is also intimidating because there are also like I think 2 or 3 spin-off series of this book now. And this is another one where I guess it's like a toxic love story, which like I understand because they're both addicts. They're both like, you know, recovering from some traumatic things, I'm sure. So I'm very intrigued, very intrigued. It's kind of along the same vein as like ACOTAR is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer Armentrout. I think this is going to be more up my alley than ACOTAR personally, just based on the friends that I've spoken to about the difference between the 2 series. I think this one's going to be more me. I feel like this one gives me more like J.R. Ward Black Dagger Brotherhood vibes instead of like Lord of the Rings vibes. Do you see what, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I just feel like that's more me. So we'll see. I'm excited to check it out. I actually don't really know that much about it like at all, but I just like the vibe I get and the reviews that I've seen. Like, I think I'll like this one more. So that's why I have this on here, just in case ACOTAR doesn't work out. This could like redeem it for me, you know what I mean? Because there's gotta be some romantasy that I can like. I just gotta find it. Next is Hawk by Jessie Hall. I actually haven't read anything by Jessie Hall yet. I tried to read her new book called The Canary Chronicles and I DNF'd it. It just wasn't for me. I wasn't feeling it at the time, but I don't think it was necessarily like I thought her writing was bad. I think it was just like I wasn't in the right mood for it. So I want to give her another chance, and the premise of this one sounds really intriguing to me. She does write romances that are usually on the more darker, like taboo side. I think this one involves cheating, which obviously in real life is not good, but in books it can sometimes come across well done if it makes sense with the characters. And from what I've heard, I think this will be a good one for me. So we'll see. The next 2 kind of go together. So I really want to read more historical romance this year because I feel like I'm missing out on some really heavy hitters, just because historical romance kind of has like a bad rep and people think it's like cringy or cheesy or like too outdated. But I read a couple last year that I liked, so I want to see like what other hidden gems I can find. So I want to read Eris Gets a Duke, and then I also want to read Wolf of the Wildflower. These are both 2 historical romances that I've heard really good things about. So these are on my list for 2024, just so I can, you know, try and branch out more in that subgenre of romance. Okay, next up we have For the Fans by Nyla K. This is an MM romance, so 2 males. I think one of them has like an OnlyFans account, and isn't this like Step Brothers too? I don't really know. This is another long one too. I think this one's like 500, 600 pages, but I've seen so many people like put this as their top book from 2023. So I gotta know what the hype is about. Plus, I really want to read more queer romances in 2024 as well, so I thought this would be a good one to check out. I also really want to read Good Game by Madison Fox. This is her debut novel, and it's about a gamer, which I feel like I don't really see a lot of those romances, so I'm intrigued. and she was actually a booktuber who became an author, which I really want to support because, you know, we love people following their dreams. So I want to check this out. I've seen good reviews too. I also really want to read Love and Chaos by Emery Rose, a series that I've been seeing some people talk about on Bookstagram. I haven't seen anyone on BookTube talk about it though, but this is another one that I saw pop up in a few people's like 2023 wrap-up posts on Instagram, and it just sounds really good. I don't remember what it's about specifically. If I remember correctly, I think this is Second Chance, or like one of the books in the series is Second Chance, so like that's all you need to tell me. We also have the Irresistibly something series by J. Salmon. There's another one that I've been seeing all over Instagram, but I just see a lot of people giving these books 5 stars and like putting it on their like best books of the year. I don't even know what they're about. I think one of them's like a doctor romance or something. Man, I don't even know. I just can't stop seeing them everywhere, so I feel like the universe is telling me I need to read them, you know what I mean? Okay, the next two are 2 authors that I haven't checked out yet. Ashley Munoz is the first one. This is a Motorcycle Club Second Chance romance that I've been seeing a lot of people talk about lately, and I really want to read it because I haven't seen a negative review yet. And I know she has some other books that I have also saved in my TBR last year that I never got around to. So I thought by starting with this book, I can see whether or not I like her, and then it might be a new author that I could discover for 2024. And then another author is Natasha Madison. I haven't read anything by her yet, but I've been seeing everybody rave about this Southern Wedding series that she has. There's like 8 books in the series, I think, maybe even more, honestly. But this is a small town romance series, and it seems like each book is about some kind of wedding taking place. I don't know, it sounds really good, and I feel like this is one where like it's a small town romance series, but like every book has a different trope that she kind of highlights. So I thought that could be good, and I've been seeing everyone rave about it, so that's on here. Kind of in the same small town theme, I really want to read more by Debney Perry, because this is another one that I think she gets a lot of love for the small town romance trope, but I have not read anything by her yet that I can think of off the top of my head. I don't think I have. So I really want to read some of her older stuff, because I have seen some people say that her newer series is kind of like repetitive and like same, you know. But this one sounds really good, Letters to Molly. I believe this is a Second Chance romance too, which you guys know is my bread and butter. So this is going to be one that I really want to read this year, and I'm hoping if I like it, then I can read more books by her. Kind of in the same realm, we have Catherine Cowles. Haven't read anything by her yet, but I know that she is like the go-to for a lot of people for romantic suspense, small town. So I really want to check her out. This is The Tattered Scars, I think is the first book that I want to read by her. And then I know she has the new series. It's like Shadows of You, Glimmers of You, whatever. Yeah, these sound really good. But again, I've also heard some people say that like once you read a couple of her books, it's like you read all of them because they kind of follow the same formula. So I don't know, but I figured, you know, I'll make my own opinion and see how I feel. I do love a good small town romance, and I don't always hate when the books are repetitive. Sometimes I like when it's predictable. It's kind of like watching reruns of the same show over and over. Like, you know how it's going to end, so like it's comforting in a way. So I don't know, I think I could like it. Last 2 authors that I've loved books by, but I haven't really read anything else. First is Christina Lauren. I loved Love and Other Words by this. It's actually a writing duo, but they go by the name Christina Lauren, so I'm gonna say they. They wrote this book called Love and Other Words. It was so good, one of my favorite books ever. But I want to read more. I want to read like The Soulmate Equation and The True Love Experiment. I know those 2 books go together, and I've heard really good things. So those are probably gonna be the ones that I prioritize by them. But honestly, like, as long as I read anything by them, I think I'll be happy. And then another one is Monica Murphy. So I really loved the book A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime, but when I read it, I didn't realize at the time it was part of a series. So I really want to finish the rest of the series, and I believe the first book is this one, Things I Wanted to Say. So I already have the physical copy, so I have no excuses. I will read that series this year. This one is like in a prep school, and it's kind of like a darker theme. I think like kind of like bully romance kind of energy, if I'm not mistaken, which is not usually my favorite. But like I said, A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime was one of my favorite books of 2022. So I really want to read the rest of it. All right, that's going to be it for this list. Obviously, I'm going to be reading a lot more than just these 24 things. And plus, a lot of these are like part of series. And a lot of them I think will be like a good gateway read into the backlist of some of these authors that I've never read before. So I'm really excited. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment down below telling me some books that you plan to prioritize in the year of 2024. And be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss my future videos, so you can see the wrap-ups when I finally read these books. I'll see you next time. Bye.